turkey for me, turkey for you. Let's eat the turkey in my big brown shoe. Love to eat the turkey at the table. I once saw a movie with Betty Grable. Eat that turkey all night long. 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. Turkey lurkey do and turkey lurkey dap. I eat that turkey, then I take a nap.
All right, so with that, hi and welcome to After the Hype. With me as always, Brian, and John is not here today.
But I am.
But that is true.
And me.
Yeah, you haven't been here in a little while.
Nope.
So today we are joined by Almost Always Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Almost Always Chewie.
Hi.
And then we have Cody.
Hey.
And Tom.
Hello.
And we're here to celebrate Thanksgiving. Which, if this works out well, we will be releasing on Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody who wants to ignore their family for about an hour.
Which is about half of the people I know.
Or if you're really cool, you'll play it for your whole family around the dinner table.
There you go. That would be the best way to do it, to hear a lot of swearing about movies you haven't seen in a long time.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
And then you go and watch all of them.
I don't think you'll have
maybe
time
that's
for that. You'll
mean-
probably skip one looking at Chewie.
I'm Tony right now, aren't I?
Yep. No, wait, what movie did you do?
She did Son-in-Law.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Skip it.
One of the best movies ever made.
Yeah, ouch. We'll
Thank
get into
you.
that. First, we're going to do a short...
Highlight of Pauly Shore's career.
Nope.
Well, no, Encino
Biodome
Man.
and
No,
Encino
Encino
Man.
Man is still the best one.
Encino Man and is that's it.
This
Yeah.
is the three for me.
I mean, Encino Man's so good, he makes a cameo in your movie.
I know.
Okay, so we're going to do a short Where Have You Been Doing? I can go first, unless Ryan wants to jump in again.
Yeah, I'm still playing Fallout, but I should bring up something different. This is really old, especially because we're recording this podcast a little early, so it'll be even older. By the time people hear about this, it'll be time to do a whole episode about The Martian, but I finally saw it.
Hooray.
And I was whelmed. That's all I'm going to say about it. It was exactly what I expected it. The way people were talking about it, I thought I was going to go in and be blown away. Like, it didn't hold up to Interstellar for me. It's so similar.
I liked it more than Interstellar.
Really?
I did too, but I have problems with Nolan's scripts, as I've mentioned many times on this podcast.
I mostly
but
have-
I
To me, Interstellar was something different, though, at least.
I could see that, yeah.
It's like another Rescue Matt Damon mission.
All right, I'm going to go next. Let's see. Last week I talked about Hotline Miami. This week I will talk about... I guess I'll have to talk about Fallout 4. I mean, that's really the only other thing that I've been doing, and it's been really good. Mm-hmm. But I can't really speak too much to it yet because I'm not really through that much of it. But it's if you've liked what they've done so far, you're going to like this one. If you haven't, it's definitely not going to sell you on it. It wasn't like Skyrim, where if you didn't like Oblivion, you'll probably still like Skyrim because they changed enough to where it was good. But at this point, if you don't like these games, they're not going to be for you. All right, that's it for me, though.
Yes, I should go next. For my Where I've Been Doing, I haven't been doing anything too specific. I've been keeping up with all my TV shows, though I completely gave up on Scream Queens. Completely gave up.
Which compared to last week, where Josh said it was the best
Yeah,
show on
he's
TV.
loving it.
I just got so bored. It doesn't feel like it's going anywhere to me.
That's too bad.
So aside from giving up on that, where have you been watching?
Of course, I'm staying with Flash and Arrow. And Flash just had, I think, what is its best episode yet. Enter Zoom was an amazing episode. And of course, half the time I was way more interested in, I just forgot his name, but his new name is Vibe.
Oh, Cisco.
Cisco.
yeah.
I love Cisco. I just want to wrap him up in a blanket and spoon him.
He's a great character on this show.
He is. Yeah, I really think Flash is just wonderful right now. It's like the top notch. It's the best show that I'm watching.
It is really fucking good.
Oh, my turn. Hey,
look at
everybody.
that.
Hey, it's me. I have actually just finished up Master of None on Netflix, which really kind of blew me away just because you don't really see Aziz Ansari as this main character type. You kind of see him as the buddy, as the Tom Haverford, as the Randy. But he knocks it out of the park. And I mean, I'm not trying to oversell it, but honestly, it almost feels real. It feels like they just had these cameras down and kind of gave it a shot at talking like real people.
It's great.
And they even comment on that every once in a while, where it's just like, this conversation's kind of dumb, isn't it? And they go, yeah, we should stop talking about this, and just like walk away. And it's like, that's pretty awesome. So I burned through all 12 episodes of that, and it's got real relationships in it, which I kind of dig in my own little way. And besides that, I just picked up NHL 2016.
Oh, that's what Tony talked about last week.
Yeah, Tony and I have this kinship over hockey games. Can't help it.
Kinship.
Yes. We're friends.
They like to touch each other.
Well, yeah, you high five after you score a goal. That's what happens, Chewie.
With penises.
Yes. It works. Yeah, I have to say, out of all the realistic video games I've ever played in my entire life, which this goes all the way back to my days playing NHL, the original, by far one of my favorite things I've ever played, because when you skate on the ice, it actually, like, you can't just turn.
Yeah.
Like, you actually have to work to make it happen. It's
You just
sounds
told me
horrible.
I'm never buying that game.
yeah, I know.
I have to
That
work
sounds
to turn.
frustrating.
Yeah,
Fuck that.
it is frustrating actually. It's so frustrating.
Figure skater simulator.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like figure skating simulator 2016.
You gotta
Like-
use both joysticks to like on your feet like that.
like Michelle Kwan is just like, oh my god, I can't turn, and then shoot the puck at the goalie, and oh shit.
Yeah. Like Tony Hawk lost me when you started having to do the joystick moves like a real skateboarder does
Yeah.
their feet.
Yeah. That's why I liked getting that Wii board for it, because
Yeah.
you could actually like do the moves on the board, and it was like you're really skateboarding. It's
So
pretty fun.
you're the person
Except
who bought that
not.
game?
I'm the one person, guys, and it was awesome.
I think skateboarders would get just as mad at you at the statement that all guitar players did at Guitar Hero. It's just like really playing it.
Hey
Pretty
man,
much.
I did kick flips on a fake board. It really flipped too, and I fell a couple times. It was fun.
It really fell. All right, it's real now.
It's real now, bros.
Well, I've been playing Fallout 4 as well, but I'll go with Ash vs. Evil Dead, which I just watched last night, which I particularly enjoyed. The pilot was
gotta
really
get
well done. Sam Raimi directing it. It had a lot of motifs and visual styles from the original Evil Dead, and I'm intrigued to see how they're going to keep it going for more than a season, but I'm on board for the season. So
They might not,
I
which is
don't-
okay.
yeah, I'm
I
fine
don't
with
think
that.
they're going to. I mean, I'll take any excuse I can to watch Ash in anything.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I don't think they'll keep going more than one season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it, but if they do, I don't know how, but hey, I'm just going to enjoy the ride for what it is for right now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Right
he
on.
can accidentally read the book again.
Sure.
I mean, he does it all the time.
He
He's done
really
it several
needs to
times.
stop holding on to that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that would constitute that he actually solves his dilemma that he's currently in. So, you know,
I think it'd be fun if they kept it going. Like next season, they brought in Cassie Hack, like they did the comic book series of
so
like
good.
Cassie Hack and Ash. That'd be fucking
I
awesome.
don't think they'd get along.
They don't in the book,
No.
but that's part of the charm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That comic book was awesome. I love the first cover, which is just Ash grabbing Cassie's ass, and just she looks like she's about to stab him in the face. Like I love that. It's great. All right, is that everybody?
Everybody.
I mean, I can count.
Ryan's
can't. How many
using
did you count?
Flash.
I just flashed
Why are
everybody.
you
26.
using Flash?
Okay, cool.
It's because I was
He's
taking
the Flash.
pictures of my unicorn poo earlier.
Huh.
now's the time.
Okay, so
Let's all stop down for candid pictures.
Yeah.
Selfie.
When we were driving here, there's just some woman with a bunch of bags at the bus stop taking a selfie of herself at the bus stop. I just wanted to start yelling at her.
Bus stop selfie.
Moving day.
What are you doing?
Hashtag bus stop selfie.
Yeah. To be fair, I did do a lot of selfies this week.
Ah, that was a good pause.
We just did another one. We should leave those in.
Yeah. I'll leave the second one.
The interactive part. You have to go to the Facebook page to see
Now
the
you have to
photo.
go to the Facebook page to see the one that we all stopped to go, ha, ha. Okay, so we're going to get started with today. So today's episode is, as we mentioned earlier, it is a battle of Thanksgiving movies, which is surprisingly difficult to do. So we went a little lax on the rules and basically said any movie that takes place during Thanksgiving.
And this is how my movie got involved.
It's really kind of how mine gets there, too. And Rocky is by far like the most left field.
What were we gonna do? Movies that star a killer turkey?
Yeah.
I really think that mine is the most involved in the actual Thanksgivingness.
There might be.
That's it.
There's the battle right there.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
the two actual ones, and then there's three like. "Oh." They do say turkey at one point, so
Sure do.
I can go first, which I usually don't, but I don't mind going first today because I think I have the best one. to take a leaf out of Graham's book from last week, but I do have the best.
Well, why else would you be here if you didn't think you had the best movie?
I'm pulling up my. I'm gonna take a leaf from Ryan. Ryan did this a few weeks ago, and I'm gonna give him credit for creating it. He did a top 10 list.
I did. I invented the top 10 list.
Yeah.
It was great.
Wait, so David Letterman owes you a lot of money.
He does.
Does BuzzFeed pay Letterman?
Yes. No, they all pay Ryan. How we can able to afford all these microphones is because
Perfect sense.
it's the top 10 list money.
And that's why when we have 6 people on, they have to share a microphone.
Okay, so I'm going to go first, and feel free to interject whenever you guys want to. But I have a top 10 list, and I'm going to go in reverse order. So my 10 minutes had started. So I did Grumpy Old Men from 1993. I'm sure everyone here has seen it. Whether or not you've re-seen it since you understand dick jokes is going to really factor into how much you like this movie.
This is very true.
Because if you have not watched it since a child, you're going to go, I remember it being okay. But when you watch it now, it's like, wow, it's just 2 old men talking about their dick for about an hour and a half. And now it is suddenly the funniest movie I've ever seen.
They're old and frustrated. That's why they're angry.
Oh, they are.
They need sex.
Okay, so starting
need
at
to
number
watch it
10,
again.
I'm gonna go with slapstick comedy. I'm a sucker for slapstick comedy, and this movie does it really well, especially for having 2 old men. Like especially Jack Lemmon in the beginning of the movie, he like falls off of a roof. They drive his ice fishing shack into a lake. Like it's just a bunch of like, look at these old men kind of goofily fall down, and like that's I'm a sucker for that sort of stuff. I like to laugh, and watching old people fall down it's funny. I'm sorry, it is. Especially if you know they're not getting hurt. If you watch like your grandma fall down some steps, it's like, oh my god, grandma. But if you watch it like Jack Lemmon fall down with a zany score behind it, suddenly it's hilarious. Okay, so and then after that, following up, I think reasonably is their conversations about death. Mm-hmm. It's a motif throughout the entire movie. They always talk about, because they're all old, their friends dying. And it leads to some of the funniest conversations in the entire movie, where they talk about their one friend, like, oh, he died. How'd he die? In his sleep. Lucky bastard. It's like the whole movie, they just keep bringing up people who died, and then like, oh yeah, he died, he got hit by a car. That's not how I want to go. No. Like, it's like the whole movie. So that's always really great. I enjoyed all those. Number 8, this one I'm throwing in just for somebody else who's on the podcast today, who's going to get mad at me when I mention it up, but the homophobia of Minnesota.
All eyes on Chewie.
Yeah. There is a
maybe in a small rural. I can't say that word now.
rural
town.
rural brewers.
Why do we all have to say that?
Go 30 Rock.
Super fan club.
So at one point in the movie when Anne Margaret is, wow, it is Anne Margaret, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was
It
like,
is.
wow. For some reason, I was thinking the girl from Superman. I'm like, wait, no, that's somebody else. Okay, so when Anne Margaret goes over to Jack Lemmon's house, and he's living by himself, and there's nobody there, and she goes, oh, yeah, well, are you gay? He's like, what? No, I'm not gay. What are you talking about? I was married for 20 years. She's like, what? It's a reasonable question. He's like, maybe in California, but in Minnesota, ugh. Like, I love it. Like, that's pretty much the whole movie. It's just those type of things. But number 6, moving on. Number 6 is the movie that teaches you that leering at women through windows leads to love.
You know, actually, a lot of my leering through windows came from this movie, I have to say.
2 people get married in this movie because they leer at women through windows.
It's amazing.
Like 2 times.
They're old and from a different time when stalking was romantic.
That's true for Jack Lemmon, who leers at a woman through a window so hard she marries him. But then Walter Matthau's son leers at Jack Lemmon's daughter so hard through a window that the daughter leaves her husband and then marries him.
Because a divorce happens and then a marriage happens.
That is some hardcore window leering.
I wish my window pointed out towards the street now.
I thought Back to the Future was freaky.
Now, number 5, I'm going to move into stuff that I actually really, really actually love about this film that I think makes it the best movie on the table today. Number 5 is the moment the moment with the feels. So it's right after Jack Lemmon has his heart attack and collapses on the sidewalk, and Walter Matthau takes him to the hospital, and he wants to visit. And they go, sir, are you friend or family? And he has to think to himself for a moment. He goes, friend. And it's like that moment where it's like, oh, he just realized that although they kind of hate each other, they're frenemies. Like, they're actually friends. And it's just such a little sweet, like, oh, single tear. Like, oh, that was so cute. These grumpy old men.
These grumpy old men, I tell you what.
But I honestly, it was actually like a really well done, heartfelt moment in this slapstick screwball dick joke comedy. So it's good. I like it. Number 4, the outtakes at the credits are some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. The older guy who plays Jack Lemmon's dad throughout the movie was a comedian. I don't remember his name now, but
Burgess Meredith.
There you go. Yeah, one of the funniest fucking dudes ever to exist, and just letting him riff throughout the whole movie led to some of the funniest lines. There's a moment when they're leering out the window at a woman, and their friend Chuck goes into the woman's house, and they used what was probably the cleanest one that he had. I'm gonna read.
Was he invited or did he?
Yeah, he was.
Just go
He was invited. He leered at her from his store. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Clearly means an invitation comes.
Yeah. He leered, and she just kind of looked and like, all right, I'm going to her house later.
Yeah.
So 2 of the lines that he said during the outtakes that were not used in the film for this is the dad looks and he goes, looks like Chuck's gonna go hide his boner. Like, that's a great one. And then the other one that I had to write down was looks like Chuck's taking the Skinwood to Tuna Town. And read by like an 88-year-old man is some of the funniest shit I've ever heard.
And that is literally the most unsexiest way to.
You mean Skinwood to Tuna Town?
Oh, God.
That doesn't stir your loins?
Yeah.
It's so,
I was thinking
so
about using
visual.
Putting it on the Tinder profile and just see what happens.
I'm willing to take the Skinwood to Tuna Town.
It's like you could see it and smell it, and just none of it's likable.
As a kid, the last one that they do, which also leads to like this really, really sweet still between Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, because obviously they were really good friends throughout the years. But at the end of the movie, when Jack Lemmon's driving away and he holds the fish out of the car because he fished his limo, and the Walter Matthau looks and laughs. In the outtakes, Jack Lemmon then walks onto the screen as they're all looking at his limo driving away and looks at him and goes, "Who left?" And it was like this moment where you could tell Walter Matthau was like kind of in it, and he was staring at the car, acting, and then he didn't realize that Jack Lemmon had walked up to him, and he just had this moment of,
R.I.P. guys.
no kidding. So then number 3, now that I am confirmed that what was her name, was Anne Margaret, who was phenomenal in this movie.
So good.
I mean, she's good in everything that she does. I mean, it's tough to find somebody who doesn't really like Anne Margaret because she's fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
But this movie, she does a brilliant job of just being that really kooky neighbor. Like, I love the introduction that you really get to her beyond just like the snowmobile through the neighborhood is when she comes over to Jack Lemmon's house and says, "Oh, I'm returning your mail that I stole." Like, you stole my mail? That's a federal crime. Yeah, I know, but what are you going to do about it? And I love that her character is just such a it's obviously scripted and very obvious what they're doing, but she's like just a breath of like fresh air to these 2 old dudes who are just so stuck in their ways. And I love that just like the message they send of like, hey fuckers, it's not over till it's over. Don't give up on life yet. And like that's really what her character is there to do for these 2 guys. And it really does it in like kind of a subtle but not subtle way. And it just she does it's good because of her and the way that she does it. And she's just fucking awesome in the movie.
Yeah.
Number 2, getting close to number 1, which if you can't guess what number 1 is, I feel sorry for you. But number 2 is just all of the one-liners through the movie. I mean, there's so many fucking one-liners. It is just jam-packed, and they crack me up. Like my favorite one that I wrote down was when they're in Chuck's store and they're going back and forth about who has it rougher. Like, I had this problem and I had this problem. And I don't remember what Jack Lemmon says, but he says he had something. And Walter Matthau looks at him and he's like, "Are you kidding? I had a gallstone the size of a baseball." And Jack Lemmon just looks at him and goes, "Gallstones are for pussies." And it's like, it's constant. I mean, there's a bunch of other one-liners that I can't remember now because I didn't have time to write them all down. But the one-liners in this movie are constant and they're fantastic. Oh, the other one that I didn't write down, but I remember now, is he's talking to Walter Matthau's son about the girl across the street. He's like, "Oh, yeah. You're not an old man yet. You could still do this." And Jack Lemmon looks at him and goes, "I haven't had sex in 15 years." And walks away. It's like, oh, I love this movie. And then number 1, of course, is a tie between Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's easily the best movie they were ever in together, not counting the original Odd Couple. And like their chemistry is like it's like Abbott Costello quality. Like they are just 2 of the funniest people to ever share a screen together, and they're definitely funny on their own. Like The Apartment is one of the funniest movies ever. I still really like Walter Matthau in the first Dennis the Menace movie. Like that's a movie I grew up with, and I always remember him as that. Like they were just so hysterical, but there's something just to sound cheesy, something magical about the 2 of them on screen together that is just so funny. Like it just like it rips you apart.
Absolutely. You nailed it. They they hold up to the greats like Abbott and Costello
Oh, yeah.
and the Three Stooges, and just the masters of comedic timing and slapstick.
Oh yeah, and like and it was just their chemistry, like the two of them together, like the way they could just bounce off each other in just conversations, and just the totally buy the frenemy aspect of it in just the best way. And it really, I'm so glad that I rewatched it because I hadn't watched this movie since I was a kid, and I just kind of remembered it fondly, like, oh yeah, I remember funny ice fishing Minnesota, and then now watching it, I was like, oh no, this was just actually a brilliant fucking comedy, and no one really talks about it anymore, which is kind of too bad because it really is just. Like I hold it up there now with like some of the best comedies I've ever seen because it is wall to wall funny, and it actually is heartfelt moments, and it's sweet. And now that I have 10 seconds left, I can mention the best part about it. There's a scene that takes place at Thanksgiving,
Oh yeah. Nailed it.
and
Theme appropriate.
and that's it for me.
Your timer didn't go off. There it is.
There it is.
You made that happen. I watched it.
So now we have
I
to
didn't.
watch.
I was just
we have to
waiting
watch
for
the
it.
second one.
I tuned up the volume.
I was gonna say that movie was so good
Grumpy Old Men
that it
2.
required a sequel. That's
Because Walter Matthau needed a girlfriend too,
Yeah.
of course
and he gets a sexy Italian lady.
sure does. Who? Oh man, who is that? Is
I
that
forgot her
Sophia
name.
Loren?
Yes.
Yeah.
The second one.
Yep.
Sophia Loren. My God, what a fox.
She always was, even in her 80s.
Yeah, man.
So who wants to go next?
I'll go next because mine is. I have a lot of comparisons to draw.
Ooh,
Mine is the
your 10 minutes has started.
quintessential Thanksgiving film, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
So fucking good.
The other one it's the other one at the table today that is just a super zany slapstick buddy comedy. I'll give it to you. Steve Martin and John Candy don't have quite the chemistry that those
Yep.
two do, but this is actually their first time on screen together, and they kind of nailed it. And these guys were definitely the precursors to like the David Spade, Chris Farley movies of the '90s. And so the plot of the film is we have I'm getting their names real quick.
It's a Steve
Neil,
Martin.
Neil. Oh yeah, sorry. Neil and Dell. Neil is Steve Martin, and he is like a super high-strung guy who's on a business meeting in New York, and he's trying to get home to his family for Thanksgiving, back to Chicago. And he runs into Dell, who mistakenly steals his cab at the beginning, and then they end up running into each other. And basically, after their flight is rerouted from Chicago, they go on a 3-day adventure to get home for Thanksgiving in time. And right off the bat, this movie gives me such travel anxiety because this is the story of my life every year as a Chicago native who's transplanted to LA. Just this whole Thanksgiving weather travel nightmare is something that still plagues me to this day. So I totally am right on board from the start, and just everything Steve Martin does, like there's a hang up at every corner. The guy at the beginning who's like spends the entire business meeting trying to decide between 3 different ads to run in the paper was hilarious.
I love that the punchline of that. So he's like, we'll convene after the holiday.
Yeah, and
Still
then
didn't make up his mind.
I didn't know this until last night. There is a little hidden scene at the end of the credits where they show him still looking at the 3 pictures on his desk with Thanksgiving dinner laid out around him. He's totally ignoring his dinner and his wine. He's still like, huh? Trying to decide between the pictures. It was amazing. So this film is just amazing slapstick comedy. Oh, I have to mention it's directed, written, and produced by John Hughes. One of my favorites. Growing up in the Chicago suburbs, I always love his movies. They're all a love letter to that town.
Oh yeah.
This one is no exception. Let's see. So super slapstick comedy. Some of my favorite lines in film history have come out of this movie. The classic one being so after they were rerouted from the train, I believe, John Candy sells all of his shower rings and lies that they're other things, like, this is somebody's autographed earring, and you see a woman actually has put it through her ear. It's hilarious. And then he's driving in the road, and he like spins out the car, ends up getting on the highway the wrong direction. And somebody rolls down their window on the other side of the highway, and they're yelling at him, "You're going the wrong way!" Steve Martin rolls down his window. He says, "We're going the wrong way." John Candy replies, "They must be drunk. How would they know where we're going?" And then there was another classic scene from this film is Neil, Steve Martin's character, just goes on a huge tirade of F-bombs. And they say it's the only reason that this movie was rated R instead of PG-13.
That was your R rating right there.
Yeah.
I
Oh, that
want
was a lot of
fucking
effort.
car
and
from
oh my
your
God.
fucking store.
The car agency, Edie McClurg, is such a classic, like innocent old woman, middle-aged woman.
God, the button on that scene. Well, essentially, you're fucked. So good.
It had a little homophobia too. I think most movies did in the 80s. There's a scene
But
where
this one had the best.
they had to share a bed, and cuts to John Candy is cuddling Steve Martin and kisses his ear. He's like, "Why are you holding my hand? Where's your other hand?" Between two pillows. Those aren't pillows. And they jump out of the bed. You see that Bears game last week? What a game! What a game! This movie too, kind of like The Martian from earlier, it kind of like wraps up a little weird. After the kind of the worst of everything, the plane getting rerouted, their money gets stolen in a shady hotel, and we were joking about it. None of this would happen in this day and age. This movie could only take place, like, first of all, no one would have $700 in their wallet anymore.
No.
I wasn't even
And if
talking
it gets
about that during
stolen,
it.
no one would even care. They're like, "Oh yeah, I'll just charge my way home. It's no big deal. I'll just call someone on his cell phone. I'll buy the train ticket online, so I don't have to wait till we get to the station and they're sold out. All these things."
Yeah, this cannot be remade easily. Short of like,
However, though, there's a whole new slew of modern problems that they could do this with. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you could have a 30-minute snag at the TSA that wouldn't be relevant in the 80s to those
Oh,
viewers.
that's true,
You know,
yeah.
oh, take your shoes off. Oh, you've lost one. Something gets caught in the bag. You're gonna get flagged for having a chunk of metal. You know.
Drop your cell phone in the snow.
Yep. Drop your cell phone in the toilet. You lose your cell phone. That's the new losing your wallet and your keys and your ID. Anything else I need to say about this movie?
we still have 4 minutes. There's plenty to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's great.
you basically you have the quintessential road trip movie.
Yeah.
It is,
Like,
yeah.
It really is. Like any movie.
This and Vacation.
I know Vacation's probably the more famous out of the two.
Yeah.
Like everyone's seen Vacation. Not everyone has seen Planes, Trains, Automobiles, which is strange. But I feel like
It's pretty underrated, especially among the John Hughes movies.
I mean,
it's
true.
really well. When it came out, it was John Hughes was actually like criticized for making it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you made such great high school movies. Like, why are you trying to make like serious adult things? And he's like, did you watch it? This isn't serious. Like, John Candy dresses up as a
Right.
devil for one shot. Like,
Right.
it's not a serious film.
I mean, it did have a great serious undertones too, which I guess I could
It
talk
did.
about.
That was the whole thing of John Candy being homeless the whole time.
Yeah.
That was like, there was some really kind of heart-wrenching stuff in there that was really well done.
which is all John Hughes. That's what he does
Yeah.
the best at.
And they didn't smash it over your head with a mallet.
No.
It just kind of was there subtly in the background and slowly
Yeah.
emerged over time.
And
you
unlike
can pick it
You're not
up.
mentioning
Yeah.
why he's homeless, which is the heart
Right.
of the movie.
It's that they're both, saying to each other the entire time they're trying to get back to their families and their wives, but John Candy's wife actually died 9 years earlier.
Yeah.
And he's kind of just been, I don't know how deep they explain it, but it just seems like he's been traveling around the world and living life the best he can. He's not poor. He's not homeless, per se.
Well, he doesn't have a home, is what he
He's
says.
right.
Like, he doesn't have like an actual place.
He's not like
that's
a
what the
bum.
trunk is. The trunk is his home.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's everything he owns. is
Well,
the trunk.
the message I got from the movie, if you don't mind me
Yep.
saying it,
Jump in.
is even like, to me, Thanksgiving is like the reason, but the whole like message of the film is like Steve Martin saying that he feels bad that he hasn't spent more time at home and how much
Yeah.
he misses his wife, and then John Candy just talks about how much he loves his wife and all of this,
Right.
and you don't get that he doesn't have one until the end, and it just really feels like these men's, like, their wives are their anchors, and Candy lost his anchor, so then he's just been aimless, essentially. He's been traveling the world, yes, like doing things, but seems completely aimless until he finds Steve Martin, who gives him kind of something to focus on
Yeah.
for the first time ever since his wife died.
It's actually, that doesn't come up in a lot of these buddy slapstick movies where there's some serious character development and
Oh, yeah.
changes that go on.
And I think that's why this movie's as good as it is, because it really has like it really hits home. Like, and it
It
does it
does.
like a really good way, like where it's still funny and like slapstick the whole time. And you don't feel like it's kind of like pulling the rug of like, oh, you got to have like the dramatic third act. It
Right.
wasn't that at all. It's just
Right.
It all made sense and it still kind of worked and flowed. But it was
That's what it was like. That's why the ending is a little weird, because it wasn't like in most of these kind of movies where the characters are just trying to do something and get hindered at every turn. In the third act, they come up against their greatest obstacle and they have to overcome all odds to get home or whatever. But in this, it's kind of like the last couple things were like, oh, our car lit on fire, but we're okay, thank God. We're friends now, and we're gonna get drunk in a hotel room together, and we're gonna like bond and change each other. And then it's like they get pulled over on the way home, and their car gets impounded. But it was all just like kind of glazed over to say, okay, finally, one last hiccup, and we're home. And the big climax of the movie was Steve Martin riding home on the train and having the realization that John Candy didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
And it was a really well done scene. We get so much of that now where it's like, oh, close up on the one character and then flashback to earlier scenes of the movie. But they did it 3 quick beats, 3 quick lines from John Candy, and he pieced it together and cut right to the train station.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why John Hughes was as good as he was. I mean,
Absolutely.
The only problem with this movie was that why would he be taking, like, a Blue Line train from the middle of Chicago in the Loop out to the suburbs? But, you know,
Yeah.
that's just me.
Yeah.
Why would you drive into Chicago to take the L train to the suburb? That's not where it goes, dude.
No.
You are lost.
This is because you need Chicago.
Yeah.
Yep. you need to have that.
There's a little stretch everywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Listen.
You have 20 seconds left if there's anything else you want to say.
Let's see. Where have you... You're going the wrong way. The fucking scene. The 2 pillows scene.
I know when you didn't hit. When they get pulled over. Do you know how fast you're going? Well, it melted, so no.
None of this works, you know. We're trying to get some breeze, whatever you're saying. John Candy was genius.
Oh, there it is.
You think this car is street legal? Yeah.
It works. We don't really know where we are with any. They're all melted, you see.
Yeah.
God, that was good.
I was thinking I'd go next. That's all right.
Please do.
Unless someone's going to fight you on it.
I don't know. These two.
He's holding up the
I mean,
fisticuffs.
got my
Cody just got a
fisticuffs.
new job. He probably has some like confidence going on now.
You know,
Probably has some confidence going on.
because I never have confidence any other time. Thank
Feels
you very
more
much.
insulting than anything.
Yeah, really. Jesus.
Poorly
Not
worded.
even confirmed that he'd have confidence. Just probably.
Yeah, probably. You know.
Additional confidence.
Maybe not.
Wow. And this Chewy's been my friend for how long?
I love you, Cody.
Yeah, I love you too.
I'm gonna put some fish in your car later.
Thanks. That'll really show you love me.
Yeah.
Your 10 minutes have started.
Okay. So my movie, which is the quintessential Thanksgiving movie.
It's not.
So it is a Pauly Shore film entitled Son-in-Law, and it follows Carla
Gugino.
I can never say her
that
last
right?
name. I have no
Thought so.
idea.
Gugino? It's like
Gugino?
Gugino, right?
Super Italian.
Carla
No,
Gugino.
Gugino. You have to do that thing with your fingers. You put them
Italia.
together. Yeah, Italian.
Talking about pizza.
Okay,
I'm over the mop.
stop. You're taking up my time. Carla,
Oh, you need all 10 minutes for this, for sure.
the most talented actress in pretty much any Pauly Shore movie, really.
Whoa. Wait a minute. Wasn't like... What about Encino Man? We've got the lovely... what? I forgot her fucking name now.
So, yeah.
So apparently Carla
Definitely
Gugino.
amazing.
I'll sit up now.
You had Joey Lauren Adams in
Yeah. In
She's
Biodome. Joey Lauren Adams.
Yeah, they're
What
nice.
happened to
They're
her?
good actresses, but they're not Carla.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Continue, please.
So the movie begins.
Buddy.
Oh my god, it's like watching the movie!
Let's just quote the movie until Chewie wins.
Sorry, I just want to do it too now.
Do your whole 10 minutes in a Pauly Shore impression.
That's great. That's the best use of your 10 minutes for sure.
All right, let's restart this.
Start the clock.
We're not doing that. Keep going.
Back into it. Okay, we start the movie with Carla's character. I don't remember her name right now because I'm bad at that.
Just Carla.
So she's graduating from high school. She's valedictorian. She's like the quintessential girl from middle America, like just the most beautiful idealized thing that we have. And she decides she wants to go to LA to expand her horizons and experience life. And she goes to LA, and of course to the chagrin, bad word, chagrin of her parents. You know, there's all these people with their sexuality and stuff. Again, getting to the homophobia. Her roommate is a lesbian, and she makes out with her girlfriend in front of her parents, and they're like, "Oh my god." And
Which is, I mean...
we're leaving our daughter in the depths of hell with Sodom.
It's a really weird moment.
Yeah, that just kind of
Weird
it's just
movie.
it's just pigeonholed in there.
Yeah.
Really well.
Fuck. Do you want to have two chicks make out? Yeah, all right.
I like that her little son, who is the boy from
Big
The
Green
Sandlot.
and Big Green.
Yeah.
I've never seen Big Green.
You missed out.
And
That
he's
is a
wearing a
classic.
T-shirt while he's staring at the lesbians making out. He's wearing a T-shirt that says "Seduce me."
He definitely needs that T-shirt so that
Yeah.
women know that he needs seduced.
And then the dad needs to get into the trunk, and we meet Pauly Shore, and he's suspended upside down, like the epitome of craziness. And
Ripped off from John Hughes.
whatever, he wasn't making a ding dong joke. And so then we start into Carla just is super wound up, kind of like, again, another theme in this where some people just need to lose themselves a little bit and loosen up around Thanksgiving. And
Just throwing Thanksgiving when we can.
Yeah.
and Pauly Shore comes in and he's just like, you gotta mingle and get out there. Woo, woo, woo. Buddy. So he takes her and transforms her. He cuts her hair, he changes her clothes, she dresses way sluttier, and then she finds herself.
That's how that
And then
works.
she gets a man.
Shit. I was wondering about that.
The butterfly tattoo on her
Yeah,
ankle.
and a butterfly tattoo on her ankle, which is
That means
just
she's
so
DTF,
like
man.
so like edgy and out there.
I got a story for you later.
And she's going to go home to Thanksgiving with her family for a week, but she finds out that Pauly Shore doesn't have a family to go home to or something, so she takes him with her. I really need to speed this up.
Or
and-
something is about right.
And so then that really makes her family unhappy and her boyfriend unhappy, and everyone's like, Carla, you're going insane. And so then the rest of the movie is just, Pauly Shore showing everybody, you need to loosen up. You need to find yourself and mingle and relax, buddy.
It's Pauly Shore showing people how Pauly Shore he can be.
Yeah.
Like, you can't out Pauly Shore.
It's
Shore.
Pauly Shore lessons. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Pauly Shore
This-
101.
That's great.
Look at me swimming on the ground in the Midwest because I'm in the Midwest, man. And it's like,
But just the
Come on.
scenes when he's learning how to be a farmer and he's he's feeding the animals, he's getting manure all over him, he actually ruins some crops.
he
But
ruins,
it's really
he ruins an
funny.
entire harvest by carving his name into a
Crawl.
field.
But he did it really well. For his first time driving a combine, that is impressive.
He's got some natural farming talent.
Is that what he's doing now?
Yeah, that's where he's
But,
been.
and he really wins over the family by one, saving the grandpa's life by giving him CPR and making sure he gets pills and stuff. And then the father's like, maybe he's not so bad. And then he makes the mom have a makeover too, which, yes, like Brian pointed out, it is a little annoying when he's like, well, you need to express yourself through makeup. And I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, for a feminist
But-
to enjoy this movie is a little backwards
Yeah.
of going,
You know-
you need to have your outer beauty show your inner beauty with makeup and
You know
make
what?
men happy.
This movie
Boobs
came
pushed
out
up
when
all the
I
way to your
was
chin.
10. When you're 10 years old, you're not really thinking about feminism much yet. You're just having fun watching Pauly Shore say buddy.
My movie was super feminist. All you see is Steve Martin's wife being like super frumpy in her bed on the phone
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah,
And he
Steve
still can't
Martin-
wait to get home to her.
Steve Martin's wife in that movie is really just like a trophy that he's trying to achieve. And they even have like a special spotlight on her on
Yeah.
the stairs when he gets to her. But other than that-
Victory achieved.
Yes.
Son-in-law.
So son-in-law, and then we have the Thanksgiving dinner, and Pauly Shore's trying to help them kill a turkey, and you're gonna start like pulling out feathers in the sink, and it's not dead.
That is, when I rewatched this movie, that
It's
was
a
the
Christmas
one part.
miracle.
That was the one part that actually made me laugh
Thanksgiving
again.
miracle.
I liked the joke to begin with that he annoyed the turkey so hard that it died. that was
It just
hysterical.
passes out.
It's just
You
like,
just
"Ah,
start screaming
fuck
at
this
it.
thing. That was good, and then the punchline of like, well, you killed it, now you got to feather it, and he pulls the one handful, the thing just freaks out and flies away. And Pauly Shore's response to that is, I'm leaving.
This movie's so much fun, and for all of its simplicities of its so definitely super 90s and super Pauly Shore movie, it has some fun messages of family about you gotta stick together and acknowledge that you're going to change and you need to figure out who each other are as you get older. And he fixes their marriage. They have sex again for probably what seems like 10 years.
Oh, they put the beds together.
Yeah, they push the beds
Literally.
together.
He literally pushes the bed across the room.
God, yeah, I remember that.
Damaged.
And they get rid of the super evil boyfriend, which Honestly, if you were in his shoes, you probably would have reacted kind of harshly too. But
Yeah, I mean, that would have
Yeah.
sucked. You thought you had a girlfriend. I mean, and when you come back for Thanksgiving, you've been gone for all of 3.5 months,
Right.
I think. So
she's
she's
a complete
that's
transformation.
their family going, what the fuck, is a very justifiable
Yeah.
what the fuck.
Totally, yeah. That seems like the exact reaction I would have if my daughter came home.
But
I'm like,
then they-
what the hell's going on?
But then they really like see that she just, is finding herself and her creativity, and that Pauly Shore is amazing, and you want him part of your family.
No,
I mean, that is the message in the movie.
that's not the real life.
Well, if Pauly Shore showed at my house, I mean, actually, I'd probably be okay with it. He does make me laugh, but I'd still be annoyed. Because
You're gonna touch the weasel.
I'd be more. Oh god.
That's a different movie.
I'd be more okay with Pauly Shore showing up than Krull showing up. Like Krull is one of the most annoying characters I think he has ever come up with. I just can't stand him throughout the entire movie. Yep, that's it. You nailed it.
But yeah, and this movie specifically is about people coming together at Thanksgiving. I'm just gonna point that out here.
Only this movie.
not my movie. No, my movie does not talk
Sitting
about that
down,
at all.
having
Mine has
dinner.
a scene during Thanksgiving. Thank you very much.
So does mine.
You still have a minute left.
More Pauly Shore references.
Yeah.
More Pauly Shore impersonations.
The one scene you
okay.
didn't talk about that I'll bring up here for you is I think probably the one legitimately really funny scene, not counting the turkey scene, which is the square dancing scene where he takes
Oh my
over.
gosh,
That scene
he's
is-
really good at that. Like he's a good square dance MC. Like
Yeah.
fantastic.
I would actually, if I were to go square dancing and he was the one doing it,
Definitely.
I would probably have
I'd
fun.
be there
Oh,
in
yeah.
a second.
I also like that he refers to all old women as nugs.
He gets all of those elderly people into a tizzy, and there's a lot of elderly sex that night.
There really was.
Yeah, really, all you need is Pauly Shore in a room, and suddenly everyone wants to do it.
Fuck
mean,
Viagra.
Only
You
right?
know?
That's spring break at MTV for like 3
You're
years
just,
was Pauly
just
Shore.
thank-
Yeah.
You're just thankful for your libido at Thanksgiving
Biscuit.
because of Pauly Shore.
Do you have anything to say about your final 10 seconds here?
I love this movie, and you're never gonna make me stop loving this movie.
I'm not trying to. I'm just hoping
Good.
I never have to
But-
watch
but
it with you
the-
again.
You yelling at me from across the room while watching it, going, "Why did you make me watch this?"
So do we want... Which superhero do we want? Do we want the superhero of boxing or the superhero of New York?
I mean,
It doesn't matter to me.
I'll take it, Tom.
All right.
All right, your 10 minutes have started with the ultimate Thanksgiving movie.
Ultimate Thanksgiving movie of all time. Here we go. So basically, let me start off by saying the first lines in the movie. Who am I? Are you sure you want to know? The story of my life is not for the faint of heart. Because Spider-Man is the greatest movie about Thanksgiving of all time. Hands down, best movie about Thanksgiving. And here's why. Spider-Man in its entire existence, this whole movie is about family and about growth and about coming together. You have Peter Parker, who grew up without parents. He instead grew up with his aunt and uncle, Uncle Ben and Aunt May. And he goes through his life kind of being that nerdy outcast. He doesn't really have anybody to connect to other than them. And his one friend, who is kind of a weirdo, Harry Osborn. And they're kind of not really, they're on the fringes of the society of high school and everything else like that. And Sam Raimi does a really great job of portraying this family unit that he has and building him up to that until the point where Peter starts to gain these powers. He gets these beautiful spider powers, and
Well, he's bitten by a spider. He doesn't just acquire that.
he acquires
Right.
them through spider bite.
Puberty happens.
Puberty
Yeah.
happens. Actually, that's
It's
what
the scariest puberty ever.
Yep.
I'm shooting white stuff everywhere, but it's not from my dick.
he does.
My palms are growing little hairs.
He does
It
actually.
did happen.
He wakes up one morning. He has abs, guys. Come on, that'd be the
Yeah.
greatest superpower
And
of
he
all
doesn't
time.
need his glasses anymore.
No, he just does the glasses thingy. But the kicker is the fact that he builds into this family unit, then he starts having his teenage rebellion, and this teenage rebellion happens just at the right perfect time of when he loses his uncle because of a mistake he made. He loses his Uncle Ben by a gunshot from a criminal that he didn't stop on his own.
Sandman.
Yes. Wait a second. Wait, what? This third movie, we need to discuss that later. But basically, he makes a poor decision, and with that poor decision, he learns that what his uncle told him, which is in this movie, is with great power comes great responsibility, and that power then leads him into becoming the superhero that is Spider-Man, and basically trying to do right and trying to undo the wrongs that he feels he's done in his life. But this, again, brings another family unit together because he starts to slowly grow into the Osborn's family, where now he has this pseudo-father in Norman Osborn, who is played excellently by Willem Dafoe.
Absolutely. Best part of those movies.
Yeah.
He is absolutely the best part of the entire trilogy.
Yeah.
His costume was a little too cheesy for my taste.
Right.
But I still think it worked. Like it still,
yeah.
it felt like that was pure comic book movie of watching those two together.
Yeah.
But still, like that one scene on the roof, it's like you look a little, just one hint too far.
I really hope Marvel takes the Green Goblin back and does it right. I haven't been happy yet. Side note.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think that goofy plastic mask thing kind of throws it off a little bit. But
And the robotic eyes that slide
Yeah.
up so he can zip.
yeah.
I need to talk menacingly to you. Only eye contact can convey what I mean.
Yes. And he does like the little it's just like a leprechaun stance when he's talking to him too. I think that's my favorite part.
Yeah.
But he offers up when the goblin first comes into the world, and after he's created by Norman Osborn trying out his secret formula on himself, testing it on himself, he becomes this like egomaniacal guy, but he sees Spider-Man as somebody who he can join forces with. And he kind of offers him an opportunity to be like a pseudo son. He, offers them up this idea of let's join forces. We can team up, we can work together, and we can solve all the world's problems. And by all the world's problems, Norman is going to kill everyone that's wronged him and make everything right.
Sounds right.
Yeah, and so
Solves my problems.
exactly. And that's kind of this weird dichotomy where it's like you have this guy who wants to be this father figure as an evil villain, but then also when he's not wearing that mask, he also kind of is that father figure to Peter. And Peter doesn't realize the dual personalities until much later, but he moves into an apartment with Harry Osborn, and they live together. But Norman's never really connected with Harry. He connects much more with Peter, and it's kind of subtle in this movie, but you kind of see it where Harry is kind of trying to get his dad's attention throughout, and Norman is very much involved in like, Peter, what are you doing? What's your job? What do you think you're doing? Oh, a fine profession of being a photojournalist. I see. And it's like it's so silly, but it's very much like the idea of there's this family dynamic where Peter and Harry kind of are fighting for attention of this father figure. And that's kind of what most of us have, and I think some of the families that you see in movies where it's like they don't have that connection. But this is a kind of a weird family because then they do sit down for Thanksgiving dinner. And you have Harry, who has Mary Jane by his side, and that's Peter's love. He's been in love with her since before he knew he even liked girls. And
That was a dick move, Harry.
yeah, but what the thing?
Bro code.
Peter never told Harry, and it's Peter's fault because Peter never stepped up to the plate. And
but Harry should know. They're
Harry
such
should
good
know.
friends.
Still a dick move.
well, this is why James Franco is also a key portion of this because he's so goddamn likable as Harry Osborn. He's like, I feel sorry for this son of a bitch in his black turtleneck. But they sit down for Thanksgiving dinner, and it's at the point where both Peter and Norman have already pre-met as Green Goblin and Spider-Man, and they kind of already have this inkling of trying to find out who the other one is. And there's this, you see them in their human forms sitting across from each other, down across from each other at the same table. And Mary Jane and Aunt May are making dinner, and there's this like moment where Harry gets pulled aside by his dad and very much says, what am I doing here? Why am I here? And kind of basically berates Mary Jane, going like, oh, she's just another gold digger. If you want my advice, you should broom her fast. And it's like,
God, that phrasing, broomer fast.
yeah, use her for what you want and broom her fast. It's like,
Oh my God.
that's just fucked up. Why would you
Villainous.
say that?
He's a villain.
He is a
why.
villain. That's why you say these
A
things.
villainous dad is the one who tells you to hit it and quit it. Like,
Yeah.
That's just kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
I've never heard that term, broom her fast.
Yeah, you just hit it, quit it, get out. Yeah.
Just dry
But it was-
and terrible.
That was terrible.
But the fact that this is a family scene now for Thanksgiving, and then he just gets up and throws something like that at it's like,
Well, this
that-
is after he just figured out that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, though.
Right,
Because he
yeah.
just saw the wound that he gave him in the previous fight. And he's
Yes.
like, oh, fuck.
yeah, he sees the cut and he goes, oh, it's just I was clumsy with the bike
bicycle-
messenger.
yeah, bike messenger clipped
Clipped
me.
me. And it's like,
How?
How?
Was he covered in knives?
did he have knives just going, I'm a bike messenger?
I'd fuck
You've
up
never been to New
cabs.
York.
Clearly. But yeah, he comes to this slow realization. Then he starts to switch between Norman and Goblin, and it's this whole idea of that drunk uncle that's at the Thanksgiving where it's like he'll say everything because he's had 16 whiskeys and he's good to go.
That's going to be me this year.
Oh yeah,
Drunk uncle.
drunk uncle, love it. But then
Bernie Sanders is going to be the best president ever.
Oh my God. No, that's going to be me. You hold in your political statements around your father.
It's true. I'm smart about it.
But like this family unit is then kind of tossed aside because then Harry stands up for his dad. He stands up for the evil villain. He goes, "No, my father's a great man," and like just completely throws Mary Jane aside and like says, just do whatever you need to, and just pushes her out of the way pretty much. And Peter sees this and sees the kind of chance to move in on Mary Jane, and then you have this brother struggle over a girl, which then after Thanksgiving then leads to when Aunt May is in the hospital after she's been attacked by the goblin. You have both of them, Mary Jane and Peter, sitting there, and Peter gives this great, basically, monologue about what he said to Spider-Man when he talked to Spider-Man about Mary Jane, and that's actually one of my favorite moments of the entire movie is when he's telling her, I said, Spider-Man, I said, the thing about Mary Jane is, and he just goes in this long soliloquy about why he loves Mary Jane, and they start to, you can see it, they're like, we're gonna move in, we're gonna do this kiss thing. And then soon as that comes to the really head of the point, in walks James Franco's character, Harry Osborn, and he sees basically his brother with the girl that he loves, and he's like, oh, fuck. We've created this now love triangle where it's now all three of us have to kind of figure this out, and that leads us into, this idea of family kind of, you have these issues where you're pulling each other back and forth, and these things always come together at a holiday time, which Thanksgiving and the time after that, the New Year.
And they really do stick to being at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I mean, they even have a Thanksgiving Day parade in it.
Yeah.
They really do. They don't really ever talk about it, but it really is. The whole movie takes place in November.
Yeah.
It really is just about it being at Thanksgiving. And I think that was. I agree with you. I think it was intentional because I think that was what Sam Raimi did for the whole family aspect. And what do you do at Thanksgiving? You fight with your family. It will happen at some point.
Totally. And that's the funny thing is it all comes down to the end where you have a great battle on the Washington Bridge where Goblin drops Mary Jane off the bridge. Peter catches her just in time, saves her life, and then he gets into this all-out throwdown brawl with the Goblin in this abandoned warehouse. And as they're fighting, Peter starts to lose and just gets his ass handed to him, and he just gets basically what happens to Spider-Man every time he fights a bad guy. And he just falls off, and he ends up at that point where he's about to lose, and Goblin really kicks his ass and puts him down and says, this is how you're going to die. And then tables turn. And as the tables turn, Peter gets up on, higher on the end and has a point where he can throw the knockout blow, and Goblin immediately turns back into Norman Osborn and says, Peter, it's me. You've saved me from being this evil force. Be the son that I was to you. And you have this moment, and of course, the glider kills Norman.
Spoilers, man.
Sorry, couldn't help it.
I could say I could solve Mary Jane's problem right now.
She should come
Let's be progressive.
Yeah.
You have two boys that are very in love with you, and let's get rid of the homophobia, and just, all do it together. Happy sandwich.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
A happy sandwich.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a sex term.
Yeah. I'm not sure that'd be the best way to
She
handle
gets the best of two worlds. She gets the nice, caring
Chewie is a reverse
boy
Mormon.
with
Yep.
the nice, caring, simple, emotional boy, and the rich boy. She gets emotional
Who's
support and
incapable of
financial
love.
support.
Yeah.
Wait. Help me find these women that are looking for the nice, caring, emotional, sweet boy. Send them my way. I have a Twitter handle if you need it.
Last but not least, the Thanksgiving classic,
Yes.
if you will.
Make sure to
Shoe
watch
in
it
for
on
the win.
Thanksgiving.
I mean, I'm sure out of all these movies, it is the most Thanksgiving-y.
I
out
still
of
have
Thanksgiving.
never seen Rocky.
There it
Spoilers.
is. Spoiler, what's going to be happening.
Yes. Well, I mean, I just watched the entire
Your
Rocky
10 movies coming
trilogy.
up.
So I've only seen these movies in the past 6 weeks. So my take on it, it's completely, it's just a great boxing story, just a great sports movie. Rocky's been an underdog his entire life, but he's also been someone who hasn't really tried his entire life. And he gets thrown into this opportunity to face Apollo Creed for the World Heavyweight Championship. He's a competent boxer. He knows what he's doing, but he's never really put in the extra effort. And throughout the movie, he kind of develops himself both socially and professionally. He meets Adrian, he really falls in love with her, and he slowly courts her throughout the movie.
Kind of rapes her.
Yes, he kind of rapes her in the apartment where he's just like, you can't leave yet.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's a
a
pseudo
very
rape
weird
scene in
Pseudo
it.
rapey.
Yeah, she does say yes
Yeah.
after
Because
saying
of the
no a
implications.
lot. Because of the implications.
She says yes
Yes.
because of the implications.
Well, he literally takes her back to his apartment, takes off his shirt, and says, hey, come on, sit down next to me.
And she's like, no. And he's like, well, do this. No. And then
It's-
she's like,
it's
I'm
more
going to leave.
comfortable over here.
You can't leave. And puts a hand on the door, and then they start making out. And then and then she's into it.
Well, I mean,
Because she doesn't want to die.
this movie was made in the 70s. They were playing up that she was really shy and she had never been with a man.
Yeah, he knew that no meant yes. If he didn't force her to say yes, she'd never say yes.
Oh, man.
But I mean, but that romance, I mean, besides the incredibly creepy way it starts, is probably one of the better ones in film history, I think.
I
don't know.
actually agree with you. After you get past the rape, it is a very good romance, and the characters really.
All you need is a little Stockholm syndrome.
I mean,
That's how I'm
no,
gonna get my
but
next
it's
girl.
but it really like they're. But no, they complement each other so well throughout the entire series. Like it is actually a very, very good relationship. It just
Started out bad.
starts out a little rough.
Yeah, I'm to downplay it a little bit. I mean, he's trying to be.
Are you trying to
romantic.
rationalize the
No, I'm not really.
He
trying
had to
to.
over
You're
pursue
just
her
gonna
because
stop.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on.
Put down the shovel and walk away.
well, but yeah, with having actual someone that he cares about, someone that's pushing him, driving him forward, he actually gives it his all. He goes through a training montage with Mickey, which I mean, that's one of the most iconic moments in film history. I mean,
Oh yeah, going up the steps in Philadelphia.
exactly.
Another
Huge.
Burgess Meredith sighting as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 in this episode.
And it's another love letter to the city of Philadelphia as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, and in the end, unlike most Hollywood movies, Rocky doesn't win his big title bout. He falls a little short.
Which to talk about that really briefly, I hadn't seen this movie since I was very, very young until I watched it for this episode. And I remembered it differently. I remember there being more boxing in it than there was. There's really not a lot of boxing in the movie.
Yeah.
It's very little boxing, actually.
Yeah.
But the ending, for some reason, I remembered it being more dramatic that he lost. And it really, you blink and you miss it.
Yeah.
Like it ends and he starts screaming for Adrian, which is the very iconic, like, Adrian! And then she comes running, Maggie! And then while they're doing all that back and forth, they randomly go, oh yeah, Creed won. And in the background, you have him going like, woohoo!
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just nobody cares.
Well, because the entire thing was that he went 15 rounds. No one had gone more than like 3 or 4 with Apollo before that.
And nobody
So-
knocked him down before. He was the
Exactly.
first person to knock him down.
So I mean, just that having that sort of momentum about it didn't really matter at that point if you won or not. I
Yeah.
mean, they could have not cut before they even announced the winner, and the movie would have been satisfying in that way. I think. Maybe not
Possibly.
not as much.
You need an ending to the fight.
Yeah.
You need an answer to that final equation.
Well, you would have
If-
got that in the
yeah.
first 15 minutes of Rocky 2.
It's true. When they're sitting in the hospital going, I want a rematch.
But
So what
yeah,
was Thanksgiving in this movie?
but Thanksgiving was actually Rocky and Adrian's first date was on Thanksgiving Day.
Yep.
He comes over with Paulie, Paulie's best friend, a drunk, who's kind of a dick, a super dick.
Super dick.
Super dick. Paulie literally comes in, takes the turkey out of the oven, and throws it out into the yard and says, "You're going out on a date with him, and you get the hell out of my house." And that's how their romance kind of starts.
Yeah.
So
So
she
she
gets
doesn't get a say in anything.
It seems like it's
she's forced to go on a
archaic.
date with a guy who rapes her, and then they fall in love.
Yeah. It's the
It's like
70s.
a Disney movie.
So you're criticizing the messages in my movie.
Hey, at least the message in my movie just said leer at them through a window.
Oh my god.
And that was for comedy purposes, not drama.
Yeah, I had forgotten about how brutal that Thanksgiving scene is. Like, go on a date with him. I can't. It's Thanksgiving. I got a turkey in the oven. And then he just, oh, you got a turkey in the oven, huh? Just walks to the turkey and throws it by the leg so that the rest of the turkey goes, but he's still holding the leg so he can walk in and keep eating the part of the turkey that he wanted to.
And he literally goes to Rocky, "You want some?" Like it's no big deal whatsoever.
Which is horribly brutal, but then it is followed up by the sweetest moment in the movie when they're on the ice skating rink.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like that is adorable.
And the unscripted fall, it's like he catches her at on the rink. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's kind of like where the sweetness of the romance comes in for between the two characters. And Rocky's always tried to be good and nice to her. It's just at that moment he was kind of pushing her. Yeah, well, let's not talk about that moment. I don't think there's really any defending that in the 21st century.
There really is. The whole way the relationship starts, there's no defense for it anymore. That would never fly in a movie nowadays. But people still look back and are like, oh yeah, classic. Just forget about the rape. But classic.
Forget about let me take your glasses off. Let me take the hat off.
Yeah.
But
Let me push you on the ground.
Oh, they do have sex on the kitchen floor.
They do. Oh my god.
she eases into it
Forgot
by
about
that point.
that.
I'm
my
just
God.
second time I just hit the mic. I'm sorry.
Everyone knows it's okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's one of the more quintessential sports movies. It's maybe it's not a super Thanksgiving theme movie, but Thanksgiving is super important to getting those two characters. Pardon me. To getting those two characters together and pushing Rocky forward to be a better man than he was before that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very obvious that with no Adrian, no Rocky.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, if he didn't have her pushing... Because he mentioned earlier the only reason he was a boxer is because his dad told him to.
Right.
How
So
does-
he never tried. But having Adrian there to actually prove his quality to
Exactly.
that's the whole reason the movie
Gives him
happened.
motivation.
He's just super unself-motivated.
Yeah.
Explain to me how she motivates him. You haven't mentioned, does she tell him to do better? Like, how is she motivating him?
It's not even that she does anything to motivate him other than just support him in
Yeah.
like his decisions. Like
It's-
she gives him something to fight for. She is a reason. Like, he wants to prove himself to her because to everybody he's a dope who likes to hit people, and she immediately talks to him like he's a person and wants to be friends with him.
Yeah, you weren't saying that, so
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh.
so he rapes her and then suddenly he does better. I'm like,
And then he supports it. Yeah.
It's-
Well,
it's
it's the power of penis.
I mean, it really is. I mean, the way the scene plays out is rape, but it is not like
no, I
it
understand
is
what
not
you're
in the
saying.
film. Like,
Yeah.
it's
It's just like
definitely that was not how the movie was supposed. It's just if you look at it from our time frame to the 70s time frame,
Yeah.
it's like, guys. But
No,
that's
I
not how the
understand
movie's
that.
written.
I just you weren't saying how she supported. Like I just
Yeah.
didn't.
No, it's just that she's the first person that will actually talk to him like a
Right.
human being, not like some dope like, "Hey, Rocky, how's your boxing going? Oh, it's going real good, man. Going real good."
Yeah.
And like that's the first half of the movie. Is just everyone just kind of like, he's a joke.
Yeah.
And she doesn't talk to him like he's a joke. She
Okay.
actually wants him to be a person. Like she actually says like, "Do you want to fight? Like
Right.
this is something you want to do." And he's like, "Yeah, it's all I know how to do, and I want to be the best at it." And she said, "Well, then be the best at it."
Right.
Okay.
And then it sells into
She's
like,
like his
the
mom.
machoism
Yeah.
thing.
That sounds nice.
Well, yeah.
That sounds much better than the other things.
Totally. Yeah.
Better than the rape.
Much better than
I
right.
guess I dwelled on the negative parts there. I think I'm going to lose this time.
I mean, it's the problem is like going back and watching, especially if you never saw it like growing up and like that. It is tough
Yeah.
to watch this movie and not go, "Whoa."
It's like when
Yeah.
when you
It's a lot
had
of
me
movies
starting
like that,
to
though.
when you had me watch the original James Bond movies, which
Yeah.
I'd never seen, and I'm like, wow, okay, he's just pushing her into that
Like,
closet.
whoa, Roger Moore. She said no. I don't care if you're dressed like a clown. No means no.
She doesn't want any tea.
I think the thing that motivates Rocky the most in these movies, though, is that machoism's idea of just like he's never had anybody really push him, but he's never really had that will or that drive. And that's where even like the Rocky theme is very much that. It starts off very slow and then it just pushes up into that dun 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 dun, and that's him growing his heart for and his love for Adrian over that time period.
And I also like that they did a really good job with the movie, like setting it so like the groundwork is there for him to be the best. Like Mickey hates him in the beginning of the movie
Oh, yeah.
because he squandered all of his potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
I-
could have been the best, and he just didn't want to be.
Yeah, and I like that Mickey knows that. It's like,
Could he have been a contender?
I could have been.
well, he became a contender, so
He
Yeah.
did. He became
became
the
a
heavyweight champion of the world.
He beat Mr. T.
Well, he lost to Mr. T, and then he beat Mr.
Yes.
T.
but then he beat up a Russian, so everything was fine.
And then he trained Mr. T's son.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's training Apollo Creed's son.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I thought Mr. T was
Yeah.
Apollo.
Yeah,
Creed.
I was
Oh, yeah.
like, wait.
Yeah.
I haven't seen these movies either.
Oh man,
No,
Michael B.
I-
Jordan's in that. I'm
it's
gonna
been a
see the
while.
shit out of that.
Oh, I know.
Actually, it looks pretty good, I think. I
Yeah.
hope it'll be good.
Yeah.
It's so exciting to see all of the Fantastic Four cast members going on to do good movies.
Thought the
Like how
same thing when I
Michael
saw The
Chiklis is
Martian.
in Gotham now instead.
Yeah.
That's his big role.
You have 30 seconds. Anything else you want to say about this movie?
It blew me away. It won Best Oscar picture. I didn't expect it to be nearly as good as it was. So
I think you're the only Oscar winner at the table. Oh, you might have won for special effects, but
Yeah.
you're the only one that won a real Oscar.
Yeah. Real Oscars,
Sorry,
guys.
special effects
I
people. I,
think
don't
I'm
actually mean that. It's a joke. I love your work. I really do.
I still think I'm going to lose because I brought Sylvester Stallone, and that movie brought Sylvester Stallone to the general marketplace. So
But he's
we're still
so
dealing
good.
with him now.
So good in that movie, though.
Yeah.
That's
He is
why he's
fantastic.
still here.
I mean, he's
Yep.
great as Rocky. Like every Rocky movie, no matter how cheesy they get,
Yeah.
they still get to the point where they're like, even Rocky Balboa, which I thought was just cash grab when I walked in.
This is a legitimately good movie.
It was legitimately good. And like at heart, I'm like,
It's
this
the
is
best since 3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
4 and 5 are cash grabs.
yeah, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
this is insane.
That's the only one I've seen. I've only
Oh,
seen
oh,
4.
4 is a cash grab? There's a robot in
There's a
4.
robot
Thank
in
you very
4.
much. That's
Happy birthday,
awesome.
Paulie.
There's never been
birthday,
a
Paulie.
part 4 of a movie series that isn't a cash grab. Let's just
We
get
talked
that
about
out of
it
the way
last
now.
week. Part 4 of Friday the 13th was probably one of the best ones. It almost won.
That entire franchise was a cash grab.
Yeah.
Fair point.
It really is. Except for the first one.
Nope,
No, wait,
that
no,
was
Even
no,
the
sorry.
first one is most
No,
definitely
I remember
the
now.
biggest
We
cash
watched
grab.
it, and they just said, "Oh, we need to make money."
Yeah.
We had to
Let's
make a
copy.
movie.
Let's put Halloween with some psycho violin stabs,
But
and we're good.
I will say, since I never seen the first one, so I don't really know the Adrian love affair thing. I have seen the fourth one,
Okay.
and the homoeroticism between him and Apollo is amazing.
Until Apollo dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but them
That's when the
running
entire
together
series
in
is-
short shorts on the beach and
Oh,
giving
yeah.
high fives, like,
Yeah, we're running. Slap hands.
Well, I mean,
The opposite of homophobia.
Eye of the Tiger, man. That's
Yeah.
the ultimate love song for two men who just
Yeah,
want to
it
really be
truly
bros
is.
together.
so I just.
Yeah.
Adrian's hardly even in the fourth movie. Is she even in the fourth movie? I don't even remember.
I think she's in the beginning. She dies before 5, right?
She dies?
Before 6, I think.
Oh, okay.
In
I don't
between
even
5 and
know.
6.
And she has cancer. She dies.
Yeah.
I think
Oh, that's
cancer.
sad.
It is
Every
sad.
movie, someone dies just about
Yeah.
after like 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to move on to the voting process. We will go in reverse order today, but to recap, I had Grumpy Old Men, and then we had
I had Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Son-in-law.
Spider-Man.
And Rocky.
and Rocky. Okay, so Tom went last. You vote first.
I'll have to go with another movie that I only saw in the last 8 weeks. I think it's very Thanksgiving appropriate. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic buddy comedy. It's very appropriate for Thanksgiving, and it's stuck with me since I've only watched it a couple weeks ago. It's still very fresh, and I kind of want to go back and watch it again.
I'm
so
glad you
goddamn
finally
funny.
got to see it.
Yeah, so goddamn funny.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was John Hughes, but when I was watching it, I was like, "Oh, John Hughes."
Yep.
I had never seen it before this either.
Yeah.
My turn. I gotta go with
Can't
Grumpy
vote
Old
for
Men.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, gotta go with Grumpy Old Men. I can't help it. I just, it's that, I don't know why there's that moment. I remember watching that during the holidays.
Yeah.
And it's something that I connect with my family and with Thanksgiving, and I gotta go with Grumpy Old Men.
And it's the thing that I do like about all the movies on the table, not just this one, is that they all do feel appropriate if you're to throw on around the holidays.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
even if it's not, you can watch it on Thanksgiving Day. Like even Rocky, like it still takes place in that time frame. Like
Yeah.
it all feels like good. Like sit around the table or sit around the TV and watch it with your family.
They're all classics.
Yeah, well, most of them.
Yeah.
4 out of the 5 are.
Classics.
Buddy.
In the realm of Pauly Shore, yes, it is a classic. In the realm of cinema,
What about In the Army Now, guys?
Oh, that's
Andy
his
Dick
worst.
and Pauly Shore.
God,
I'm glad you brought up the
And
movie that was
Tank
worse
Girl.
than Son-in-Law.
And Tank Girl.
I actually like Tank
He was
Girl.
in Tank Girl?
Yeah.
No, the girl I can never remember.
Joey
Oh,
Lauren
Tank Girl
Tank
was
Girl
in that
is
one.
in the army.
Yeah, yeah.
She's also in Free Willy,
She is.
guys.
But she's.
What's her name? Is that Lori Petty?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
She's in Orange is the New Black now.
Yeah.
Your turn.
I have to go with Grumpy Old Men as well.
Yeah.
Because that is the movie I saw when I was younger, other than my movie, Son-in-Law. And Grumpy Old Men's just a fantastic movie.
It
Like,
really
everyone
is.
loves it. Everyone can connect to that film. And yes, I watch dudes talk about their penises all day in general. And watching old
My
dudes
bad.
talk about their penises is great.
Oh man.
No, it's not just you, honey. I'm sorry. You can't be on a film set without dudes talking about
To
their
be
dicks.
fair, Chewie did live with 4 guys at one time.
That's true. There's
And-
a lot of dudes.
A lot of dudes, a lot of dick
Everyone,
talk.
dudes just love dudes love
Dudes.
dicks.
Dudes love dicks.
Dicks.
All right, I'm going to break the voting because I could vote for Grumpy Old Men and be over, but that's less fun. So I'm going to say Spider-Man.
Yes! With great power comes Ryan James.
I'm stuck in a rough spot because if I vote for the one that I want to vote for, we have a tie.
That's why I broke it. You're welcome.
Or I could just win for myself by voting for something else. Yeah. So it is a very tough point because I really like winning.
Yeah. This is why we should do a secret ballot, I feel.
Maybe.
Maybe that might be better, but then we'll always end up.
That's
with a
less
tie.
fun, though.
It's true.
Do I want to win, or do I want to?
It's
You know,
funny
here-
because an angel and a devil just popped up
Yes,
on,
yes.
on Brian's shoulders. And one of them looks very much like Tony Howard, and the other one looks very much like Bradley Cooper.
How would we fix the tie?
We'd have to do
All right.
another vote.
I mean, maybe this will inform your decision. I didn't vote for yours only because I wanted a chance of winning, too. It was selfish.
I'm gonna go with Rocky. Rocky.
Nice.
So Grumpy Old Men is the winner.
2 votes.
Oh, that sounded.
We wooed too hard there.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, that'll be a nice peak woo.
I'm a woo girl. I can't help it.
Let's do it again.
Honestly, though, I mean, it was between Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and Rocky. But if I voted for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, then I might not win. And I'd rather win than But Rocky is still. I mean, it's the Academy Award winner at the table. It's a fucking great film. It is one of the greatest sports films ever made. Like it is. If you've never seen it, you you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
Whereas like Grumpy Old Men is just awesome, and you should watch it because of old men making dick jokes. But
I should have voted for Rocky to make you vote for Son-in-Law to win. That would be so cruel.
I kind of want to make
that'd
a
been
bunch of T-shirts now that say "Dudes love dicks."
Yep.
They would sell.
they would.
Etsy would love the shit out of that.
I mean, fuck. How many like they
should
sold so
embroider
many
it on
like
a
dick
pillow.
towels because of it's Always Sunny when
Yeah.
they actually put dickdolls.com and
Oh my
sold a
God.
shitload of
Yep.
dick towels.
Mm-hmm.
I almost bought one. I didn't though because I heard the towel was actually pretty shitty. I'm like, oh, that's not.
Yeah,
worth it.
probably not a very good shower.
Okay, so that's it for right now.
All right. Are we taking a break next week?
No, that's why we're doing. That's why we're recording this one so early, so that we'll actually come right back in.
So an episode will. Yep, got it. So
We will not miss a week because we're recording this one so early,
Yep.
which is good. So next week we will have one episode before we move on to our next big event. Let me pull it up really quick. So yeah, next week will be, since we weren't able to do it before, we're finally going to do Mad Max Fury Road.
Aha, coming back. Good call.
Yeah. So, and then the week after that is our next big event, which I'll mention now. I'm not going to say exactly what it's going to be. It will be a battle-ish episode, but it'll be different than our normal formula. But we're going to do a battle for Star Wars.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's going to be...
It's gonna be crowded. It's gonna be fun.
It's definitely going to be crowded.
And there's
It
a
might
good
be a little
chance
long,
I'm going to
yeah,
yell
but
at
it's gonna be
somebody
a
and
lot
get
of fun.
emotional.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be
Wait,
tough.
Chewie's gonna get emotional over Star Wars?
Okay.
There's a twist. There's a twist
Yeah.
to it. It's not just it's not just come in and all vote for Empire.
Yeah, like we're actually doing something that will make this an actual. It'll be
Jedi.
more of a battle, which I think will be important for Star Wars, because
Yeah.
otherwise, everyone will vote for Empire, but Chewie for some reason will vote for Jedi.
Wait,
But-
what about Attack of the Clones, guys?
Are we doing
Pin
worst
drop.
one?
But yeah, I will describe what's going on with that later. I'm looking forward to it, and that will come out we're recording that one on the 5th, so it'll come out the Thursday after the 5th of December.
Sweet.
So have a great Thanksgiving, as I'm sure you're all listening to this on Thanksgiving because nobody wants to talk to their family.
Right. Love you, Mom and Dad.
Remember to overeat until you start to feel really bad about yourself.
Yep.
And then
Continue.
if you're an uncle, get really drunk so you can be that drunk uncle and yell about Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump if you're Republican or Democrat. No judgments here, although you're wrong if you're voting for Trump.
Or you can yell about your penis like the grumpy old men people.
Oh yeah, that's what I plan on doing around my 6-month and 3-year-old niece. I'll just be going, dick,
Let's talk about your penis for a little bit.
until my sister and brother-in-law punch me in the face. Stop yelling my dick, Brian.
Best Thanksgiving ever.
You guys don't have a penis, but someday you're going to see one.
Oh God, that feels so wrong since they're both my knees. Okay, so that again, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Thanksgiving.
Bye.
And bye.
Turkey only cost
Buddy.
a nickel. Oh, I love turkey on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.